Calling to order the town council meeting, White Bluff, Tuesday, April 2nd, 2024. We start with our pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Connie Reed. Here. Carlton Hay.
Present.
Stephanie Merle.
Here.
Ryan Hill.
Here.
Scott Glover.
Approval of the minutes of the March 5th. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Approval of the minutes of March 18th, 2024 special session. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Do I hear a second? Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Minutes now go to the records. Public comment, we don't have anyone that signed the sheet tonight, so we'll move on down. Public hearings, there are none. Communication from the mayor, nothing except just still we're under this bad warning storm, just everybody be careful. Budget and finance, we reviewed that and talked about it last meeting. Of course, there's not like a vote or anything on it, but if anybody, have you had any questions, Melody, or just anybody? No? Okay.
I just have one quick question.
Okay.
Can you just remind me again? So when we're receiving revenue specifically from the state, is it current for that month, or is it like a previous month behind?
The local sales tax can be, they've been really busy. Sometimes it's 2 months before they get it to us, especially during tax season. But it's the year. Like we get what we get in March is February.
Okay, so it's about a month behind. Okay.
Yeah. And then when we're looking at it, that's how we look at it, like, okay, here's where we are. But usually I will ask Melody, because I'm really interested, okay, can you tell me what y'all have deposited in March, even though, and she can tell me, and that's why we kind of can figure what was also about coming in March. But yeah, that's a good question, and that is the way it works. Okay, anybody else on financial statement?
So currently in the general fund, we're way ahead of what we estimated.
In what, revenue or?
Line,
Oh, no, this is the budget estimate of everything, and this is what we have spent so far, right here.
So what is that?
But this right here is just not as bad. It's what, yeah.
Okay, anybody else? Moving on down to codes and permits, consider our first reading and ordinance to amend the zoning ordinance of the town of White Bluff regulating renewable energy system installations. We talked about that, but we can, if you have questions, we can talk about it again.
I make a motion to approve on first reading.
Okay, we have a motion to approve on first reading. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor say aye.
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 Building permit report, Jeff?
Got along with it.
Yeah. So for the month of March, there were 15 total building permits issued. And you've got a breakdown there of what they are. There's the first one there is Pinewood Place. That's out the apartments out there behind the car wash. There were 3 additional single-family homes from Bell Forge, and then the remainder are cottages at Carey's Way and Greenfield Ridge.
How do you pronounce the name of that road?
Lala Loop.
Wait, what?
It's actually, on here it says Lala Loop, but it's actually Lala Dean Loop.
Thank you.
That's the development. That's the development.
I wouldn't want that address, I don't think.
I would say I was Layla.
Layla.
That's her address. Anyway,
The town council has the authority, once dedicated, to change names if you so choose.
Do we? Like the other one that
What's the other one?
Payoff cost, the one he's referring to.
Yeah, when can we
got-
do
got
that? So, we haven't taken it over yet. That's gonna
You
be-
mean the paving with what?
We hadn't taken on that street yet, the city.
They haven't dedicated it.
Oh, okay, they have it dedicated.
So it's still privately owned.
Does anybody know when they're gonna put the last layer of asphalt on that? It's just got the blue top.
They won't until it's substantially built.
Before we go past the permit report, is the price per square foot for a permit, is it the same for residential as it is for commercial, or is it different?
50 cents, it's the same, and I have to look and
I think
see.
it's the same,
It's the same, I'm pretty, 50 cents.
Okay.
We haven't built a commercial in long, I can't remember.
Well, like the Dollar General Market.
Yeah, I think that was just 50. But I can look if you want to know, make sure.
I did hear in the news statistics that you're always hearing that, if I'm not mistaken, Tennessee was one of the top 5 states fastest growing states in the United States.
Percentage?
Yeah. That was an interesting stat. All right. Police Department report.
We had 352 calls for service, of that 152 traffic stops, 49 citations, 73 warnings, 31 arrests, 3 DUIs, and 3 narcotic charges for the month. Total number of 352. Right. Yes, sir.
Are we still looking for another officer, or always looking for another?
Pretty much always. I mean, we are up to full staff. We swore Corey Tidwell in a month or so ago.
Yeah.
He finished up his 3-week training. He had to go back through a 3-week refresher course. Actually finished it up today. So he'll be on the road probably later this week, early next week, which will put us up to full staff currently.
So is he the one that worked here previous?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He worked here prior. First time was back in, I believe, 2012, somewhere around there. But
Okay, any more questions? Court report. Fire department, yeah, where you at, Eric?
Thank you, that's happened to
I thought everything's been, just a headline. We had 83 calls last month, 53 of them were inside the city, 27 were outside the city, and 3 were neutralized. 4 public assist inside the city, 1 outside the city, 37 medical calls inside the city, 19 outside the city, 2 false alarms inside the city, 3 outside the city. Had 8 investigations. Most of those are called as like gas leaks, and we get canceled on them. A lot of times we just have, they page us out after hours. If it's during regular business hours and somebody calls in a gas leak, we never even hear about it. If it's after hours, the dispatch center catches the calls for them. And there were 2 structure fires inside the city and 1 outside the city and 1 mutual aid, which we were canceled on while en route.
Y'all stay busy.
You guys work right across from my house.
Pardon?
So you guys work right across from my house.
Yeah, we were close to your house. That was, actually, that call got counted twice. We were there and they called us back because a few places we can't. That's the reason for the 2 calls is to.
Yeah, I called him. One of it.
And use them up, or we'll keep using them up. Anything else? Hard to say, April Fools, we didn't have any calls back there, I'm going to do that.
You ready to go down to the court report?
Mayor, 62 total cases in March, comprised of 14 criminal and 48 traffic.
So we're doing pretty good on the traffic that flows, you know. Any questions further on that? Moving on down to streets and sidewalks, discuss making Jordan Street a one-way street. When we talked about that Thursday, I think at that time the consensus was to ask our consultants, the engineers, to come and study it for some options, suggestions. What do you think about the street?
I'm gonna make a motion to allow Jeff to get with the engineers and have them look at Jordan Street for some kind of solution.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Question.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so the engineers that we're working with, did we build into the budget for this year to pay them for the work for?
The safety action plan.
Yes,
Yes.
that was built in?
Yes.
Okay, okay, thank you. Aye.
Yeah, I think we talked about that Thursday, that, hey, we've got them, we're paying them, you know, so why not? Anyway, so, yeah.
And that would have to be brought back to y'all for final decision. It's just
Yeah.
helping you make a more informed decision.
Yeah.
Or you could just make it private and put gates and let them deal with it.
Okay, I don't have anything on Parks and Recreation. I would look toward Connie's.
They just started last night and got rained out tonight.
Okay. And, the other day when I kind of asked everybody had, nobody at that time had old business, nobody at that time had new business.
I have a question.
You have a question?
My question is just where are we at with the assessment for paid positions for the city, for everybody?
We just talked about that today, go ahead, Jim.
Just wondering where we're at.
So, we had Fred Biddle does the compensation plan for the town. We asked him to review salaries. We compared ourselves to, of course, the city of Dixon and Dixon County. Melody gets us information from Kingston Springs and Pleasant View.
McEwen.
We were able to get McEwen's police department numbers, but they didn't give us a whole range. So Fred and I sat down earlier this week, and we're right in the meat of it compared to all of those entities that I just talked about across the board. So the thought would be that, you know, as long as we're going to keep up with inflation or something like that, that we're paying correctly now, and have been for the past 3 years when we implemented that plan for the first time.
Good.
So, I think, at least on my end of it, like, I don't disagree with you or him as far as the report. I don't. The problem that I continue to see, and even before I got on council, if we need a police officer, it's difficult to get, how do I say this politically, it's difficult to get the most sought after officers, because they go to the county because there's a couple more dollars on the hour. That said, you know, I see where everybody's coming from, that we do pay fairly, but at the same time, you know, I would like for us to be to where when we seek an officer, it's not a difficult task. Because our, in my opinion anyway, our cities should be somewhat safer than a countywide position. If you're paying close to the same, my thought is you would pick city over county, which I would prefer, because in the search for officers, I think you do compete, because everybody's out, you know, I mean, those guys aren't making a fortune. And so a couple of dollars on the hour, you'll lose a guy or a girl for that. Now, I understand we've got a whole variety of city workers that have to be considered. But, you know, the reality of the situation is, in my opinion, that for the most part, other than fire and police, you're not really putting your life on the line for your job. and I'll even go further as far as the police officers, you know, I always wanted to be a police officer my whole life. The reason that I'm not today is because not of the danger of the job, but of the financial hardship that you could put you and your monster's killing me, you and your family in if you have to use your weapon during your line of duty. You could bankrupt yourself with one action. And that's something that I've seen get worse and worse. And so, you know, a lot of people that would be great officers won't even go into the field because of that. So I think they deserve a little bit more money for the job they do. And we could debate whether or not, you know, we believe that we're in, because we're basically an average. That's the way I look at that report. We're in the average, somewhere in the mix. You know, I would task us to be at the higher end of the average. Because I think, you know, not that you'll get better officers, but you'll get your pick of better officers. So instead of taking who's willing to come, we take who we want to come. So there's my spiel.
I think that's very well said. I also, you know, the late Phil Valentine, I'm not sure if anybody ever listened to him, he was on the radio, but he used to say, the more people standing in line behind you that can do what you do or want to do what you do, the less you're getting paid. So if there's nobody standing behind you who wants to do what you're doing or can do what you're doing, then the more you're getting paid. So I'm completely fine with us being average on a lot of positions, but on the ones where we have difficulty and there's nobody standing in line behind them, officers I would consider one of those positions, I think we should be on the higher end. Because that's just the reality of things. If we can't find someone to replace that spot very easily, then we need to pay well to keep that spot or make it more desirable. If it's, and I hate to put it this way, but I mean, because people get their feelings hurt about it, but let's say you're and I'm just literally quoting Bill Valentine when I said this, let's say you're digging ditches. Nobody's saying you're not working hard, but I can go out and hire somebody tomorrow to go dig ditches. Whereas if I need to go hire another officer or another melody or something, that's going to take time. That's going to take effort. Not everybody can do that, nor does it not everybody wants to do that. So on those, and we can debate which positions those are, and that's, again, I know that's political and can hurt feelings, and I'm sorry, it's just the nature of the beast, but I think I would agree on the positions that are more difficult. I think we should be on the higher end spectrums, whereas with some of the positions that are less difficult, I'm fine being on the average.
You guys all know, like, with our budget talks that we've already had, and I'm sure they'll get more and more in depth as we go along. I mean, that's one of the things I want y'all to be aware I'm going to probably push for, you know, which means obviously we've got to come up with money for that. You know, and still, you know, I'm going to be that way till the end of my term. If I'm back in another 4 years, I'll push for the whole time, fire police, fire police. If I'm out of here in October, then I'll be calling you. Saying, hey. So, you know, but, you know, I just know, because I pay a lot of attention in those areas, when we go to seek an officer, there's not just a huge amount of applicants. And that's not to say that we don't have good ones. I like the ones we have very much. But if we lose one, replacing that person, him or her, is going to be difficult. And I would like for us to be able to say, yes, we're a small town, but we pay better or as good as the county. That's what I would like for us to say. I know that takes money, but that's where I'm at. So, good, bad, or indifferent, I guess.
Good discussion. I don't think any of us sitting up here, none of us are definitely against the police officers, and we're not against those fire officers, not at all. Support the I mean, you know, but could I get an opinion from you, Chief, on some of the things that have been said?
Make sure you want that.
Yeah, we've got to have it, because if there's going to be any sort of reasonable decision, now here we need the opinion and the input.
What would you like an opinion on?
Okay, that we have a hard time finding officers.
Yes, ma'am.
We do?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Are you fully staffed now?
I am fully staffed.
Fully staffed
Currently.
now, okay. If you had a police officer leave tomorrow, how would you go about recruiting another one, and how long do you think it would take you to do it?
Well, we've had really bad luck recruiting officers. I mean, we've had to reach back in the pot and pick up people that have had problems in their past, because they do not want to, other officers do not want to leave sister agencies making $2 or $3 an hour more. And I'm not sure about the study. I haven't seen it. I do know that our pay range is adequate and equal to other departments. But the officers,
Could I tell us about the other departments where?
McEwen, I'm not sure about Kingston Springs, but I also know that we're paid on the lower end. So, I mean, we can have a pay range of $22 to $35, but when we're paying, you know, 22, 23, and the other departments are paying 25, 26, there's your difference.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, it's hard to fill positions right now. If y'all told me today to hire 4 officers, I couldn't find 4 to hire.
Yeah.
I couldn't find 4 to recruit.
What is the, do you think it is the salary? Is that the main reason? Or are we lacking in something else?
I think the biggest thing is our salary. And we'll always have the officers that chase more money. We'll always have the officers to want to work somewhere that they stay busier.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell anybody, White Bluff has the same crime as anywhere else. We just don't have the levels of it. We have plenty of dope. We have plenty of things that people can get out and do if they want to go look for it.
Yeah.
They've got to go look for it. It's there. I mean, White Bluff is full of drugs.
So you heard it from the mouth.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I try to encourage the officers. I've been trying to get them into drug interdiction classes to get them, you know, where they know what to look for. But I think the biggest thing, of course, is salary. A lot of departments don't offer overtime. We do, and that helps some of our officers. That's the reason why they stay with us. A lot of them, you know, I say a lot of them, they tell me they don't switch because they don't want to be micromanaged the way some of the other departments micromanage them. We have a good group of people. I'd like to keep them in any way possible.
Okay. Thank you for your input.
Yes, ma'am.
So I have a question. What
Yes,
would you
sir.
say the average amount of time it takes you to find another replacement officer? Like 6 months?
Usually, I'd say 3, at least 3 months, if we're lucky. Corey just kind of, he fell in our lap.
Now, you're saying if you're lucky, give me an average more so, because if you're lucky, that's on the hopeful end. Because I'm sure you've experienced maybe a 6 months or a year, so what would you say would be an average expectation?
3 to 6 months.
3 to 6 months.
You know, and then like I said, if we hire somebody that we have to send through academy, you know, that's another 6 months of getting them through the academy and getting them ready to go on the road.
What does that cost, do you think, from scratch?
From the time that we hire them to get them through the academy, probably 20,000, 20 to 30,000.
That's one of the things I was looking at too. I'm glad you brought it up, because if you get somebody new, all right, it costs you 20 grand off the rip, and they don't have any experience. To me, you're better off paying an extra $2 an hour if that's what it takes, because now you've got a pool to choose from. They have experience. Yes, you're going to spend $20,000, but those $20,000 you spend will be with them on the road, not sitting in a classroom. You know, and I've asked some officers here, there, county, city, you know, would you go? Would you leave for $2? Would you go from, say, county to McEwen if they paid $2 more? Majority say yes, because it's not that far. Most of them give you a car. I mean, so at the end of the day, you know, it's like we always talk about, you know, if $2 an hour is you're going to spend at the casino, you're probably not going to leave.
How'd you bring that up so much?
That's what I want.
Me too.
You know, if you're going to blow it in a casino, it's not a big deal. But if it's the difference in, let's say, you eating a good supper 7 days a week and eating tuna fish 2 of those 7, you're going to go for the $2 an hour. And, you know, with the inflation, the way things are, I mean, even in the low 20s, that's not enough money. I mean, it's just not. So, especially not considering, you know.
We're talking about the low, and for everybody out there, all for it, we're talking about the low 20 hourly, we don't pay them 20,000.
Right,
Yeah,
correct,
low
yes.
20 for now.
You know, and I don't know, I mean, and I do think, you know, there's gonna be some hard conversations because, you know, everybody's gonna want a pay raise. I mean, that's just the way it is, everybody. And I think we do have to consider, you know, how many applicants would we have if we needed to fill this position? And that, you know, I think with, you know, and I'm assuming fire would be the same way, I don't know, because we don't really face that as much here as we do with police, but, you know, you gotta find somebody that's trained, somebody knows what they're doing, somebody's not gonna be a liability, which is a big issue. You know, if you hire somebody that's got issues in their past, knowing they have issues in their past because we can't fill a spot, and then something happens, then it comes back on us, and they're gonna say, but you knew. Well, yeah, we knew, but we had to have somebody. So, I don't know. Do y'all feel, while we're on this thing, you know, I would like to have more in-depth budget talks along the way before we get so close. So I don't know if that's something we need to put on the agenda where we can hash a lot of this out along the way. Because I don't want to get to the last 30 days and us, you know, trying to figure out what the best map is. I would like for us to have some time to reflect and have some people throw some ideas out. And, you know, because we're going to need some money, and it's probably going to be more than the deficit we're facing.
I agree, and I think that'd be incredibly beneficial, especially if, you know, the mayor and Melody all spearheaded, and every week they're like, okay, we're gonna talk about the budget specifically, this item of the
That would be
budget.
lovely.
That'd be amazing, and, I would love that.
We can do that, but we don't have to be the ones to pick it out. You can come to us and just tell us, okay, here's what we'd like. We talked about this one time before.
We did.
That, here's what I suggested at the time. Excuse me, everybody. We can put out a budget, a basic budget. Here are the revenues for the year, and here are our expenses for the year. Oh. Thank you. But, and then there's some train of thought. Being so long. No, we can talk about our, and that's a basic budget, and that's what we do each year. Here's what we've got, here's what we project we've got coming in. We talk with each department head, here's what you would like to have, but Melody says, okay, here's the revenues, you know, okay. That's kind of how the thing's been going, because the revenues usually are pumped up a little bit. We do that every year, we pump them up just a little bit, if we think we need to. We don't always, but in every line, we don't. So, we could present that basic budget and say, hey guys, here it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like when you're planning your own household budget, you can say, well, I'm bringing in $60,000 this year, and here's my mortgage, and this, and that's what I got to have. But then we could also present a second budget. It's very simple because there's only a couple, whatever line items you got, all of y'all decided you wanted entered. It would be a second budget. We would change those line items. That's all you got to do. You're going to come up with different, you know, totals, okay? Then we can even, if you want to present a third budget of everything everybody in the world asked for. I mean, you know, and bring that third budget. And then this is where the council has got to decide, okay, if we want this one, the second budget, which is some things you're talking about tonight,
Right.
and I you know, if that's fine, then here, guys, you're going to see I'm just pulling this figure out there, we're going to be $80,000 short in revenue. How are we going to come up with $80,000 to get what we want?
And I will tell you, like, I think, you know, we're the ones sitting up here approving the budget or disapproving the budget.
Right.
I do feel like, you know, you guys come to us with two budgets, and, you know, let's just say you three, or them two, vote yes, we want the raise, we want the extra firemen, we want this and that. Us three over here is like, no, we don't want that, we won't approve it. Now, we've put a face with a vote. So now you know why your police officer didn't get their raises. You know why we didn't get an extra fireman. It's because the three on this side of the table said no. And then
or the three on that, or these want it. They're going to say, we want this, and we also will approve of blah, 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 and the revenues to bring this in.
Exactly. And I think that gives people the chance, which I think they deserve, to come and say, you know, fine, why didn't you vote for that? This is something we felt like we needed as a city, why did you say no? And so, or why did you say yes? You know, we're starving to death with property taxes, why do you feel that we need this? You know, and I'm the first one to tell you, I'll answer questions.
You gotta be able to defend your vote,
Yes,
what you're saying.
and everybody may not like it, but at the same
That's
time, you're in, you know, I feel like you're obligated to give that answer if somebody wants to know why, you know, so.
I would like to dive more into it because I believe it was you, Madam Mayor, that told me when I first got on, because I know at the time the culture in White Bluff was very hot about zoning. But I believe you told me, you said, if my memory serves me correctly, you said, Carl, I know zoning's a hot topic, but really, being on council, the number one and most important thing you'll do is work a budget, not the zoning. And I was like, oh. So I would like to do that. I would like for us to really, really hash out and work and debate a budget out, so that way we're not up against the wire when it comes time, and that, you know, wherever we come out, at least by the time it comes down to the bottom line, all of us have hashed this thing out every which way to sideways, to where when we pass that budget, it's well thought out, defended, debated. I really would like to do that, if that's okay.
We can do that. We can go just like we do each year with what we have. When I say a basic budget, I'm talking about things we already are embedded for, what we've already got, and what we gotta have right now is just to maintain our town. Now that's your basic budget. What I'm talking about on budget number 2 is beyond the basic budget, you know.
I agree.
Yep.
So when we bring you that basic, we're not trying to hold anything back. None of the three of us, we live here, we're citizens, we own this stuff too. We already know what we've got to pay, we have no choice. We have to pay, those are bills. So these are revenues, and when again, these are the bills we're telling you right here. Includes everything it takes to manage this town. But now, the second budget, I think, is a very good idea. We talked about that, but I suggested in one of our meetings that we do that. That's an easy thing to do, and we can do that. And I like the idea that you vote. We'll do a roll call vote. We do on budget, I think, most of the time, you know. And then you can say, yes, I did, or no, I didn't, and here's exactly why. So that's how I feel about it.
And Mary, the only thing I'll add, and that's good, I like that idea. Keep it on the budget too, I guess it's called the dream budget, or the everyday.
Yeah, whatever, the wish budget or something, yeah.
It's not all or nothing, one or two, just keep that in mind if you do end up going that route. Is you could have amendments to budget 2, and those amendments would have to be voted on. And you could have 4 amendments on budget 2 to get it to where everybody's happy, and then you vote on the full budget 2. So, you know, it's not a black and white. You have to pick the austere budget or the dream budget. You can, there can be a way to find a middle ground. I think the best way would probably be to look at the dream budget and either be good with it or no to this, no to that. Right. That way you're pulling things off.
It's something to work with, and I mean, the counselor. That's a good budget.
Don't be afraid of amendments, is my point. And make sure they all have time to redo the numbers to make sure it all balances out. And so that, to me, just for town logistics, in and around the first reading is when that meat needs to go in, so that it's fairly clean going into the second reading.
And we talk, excuse me, I'm sorry, we talk to each department head. So we kind of know what they're wanting, or what they'd like to have. I almost know what they want, what they like to have. Everybody, I know what everybody's wanting.
I guess what we're asking is, can we go ahead and start the process now? Is I guess what we're
I would say if we can, I agree. And me and Jeff have had long conversations about budget, you know, and one of the things we both agree on, and you'll back me up on this, is it's not going to be painless. We want these things, it's not free, and it's not painless. I mean, and so, of course, that's all got to be considered as we get together and talk. But, you know, but I would like to think that, you know, we're able to come together and come to a budget that we'll all agree is a good one, so.
Well, I think we've got to remember that we all sitting on this board, we're all citizens here too. So, you know, we watch taxes, I understand that. But we also watch things that we need for the town. And this growth, yeah, but this, I think, this conversation would have come up even without the growth, because we don't even have all the growth yet that's on the books that's gonna be here. And we're already running into this.
I was reading something of our surrounding areas, there was a lot of different marks saying surrounding communities, they were like, yeah, our property tax went up 45% or 50%. I mean, it's, I think, beyond growth. I think it's just inflation's kicked us in the teeth.
Well, yeah, we didn't stick with inflation, I didn't think that. Anyway, yeah, I know, I mean, I've got family that lives in other places and they're already telling me how much their county's already gone up in their city too, so.
Mayor, if I can clarify one thing, when I said it would take us that long to hire people, we can hire an uncertified officer or non-certified personnel. They're easy to find, so I mean, if we wanted to send people to the academy.
But I would imagine let's say you take 3 months to find someone whose character you applaud and think, hey, this would be a good officer. So now you've got 3 months to find the character fit. Now you got 6 months with the academy. So now you're already 9 months into it to get a green pea that's got 20 grand put into them.
It normally takes us about 6 months to get a slot for them to go to the academy. The academy is 4 months. So I mean, but it.
How do you use them that first 6 months, Chris?
Like with Macy, we just double her up riding in a vehicle with another officer, with another certified officer. But I mean, actually, I can find uncertified people. In fact, we have a job listed on Indeed right now. I keep an ad running, and about it, even though I post on there that we need certified officers, about everybody that applies is non-certified. So, but like I said, ideally for us, it's easier to get a certified officer. And then the problem with when we hire one that's not been certified, if we send them to the academy, a lot of times it's notorious that they'll jump ship as quick as they get out of the academy. Everybody always wants bigger and brighter. So, yeah, I just wanted to clarify that one thing.
And we talked about this earlier too. We don't have in our handbook a contract or anything, and maybe not even allowed to. Is that what you said? Or did I misunderstand when we talked about that?
Yeah, well, I think the question was raised as, can we, if we provide certain training costs, can we make them work for us? No, but there can be you have to work for us to forgive that cost, or you have to pay it back. And that came up today, so I can't take all of that with a grain of salt, but I have seen that elsewhere, and if that's something we need to explore, and that would need to be applied across the board to all town employees. Obviously, police officers have a little bit more involved with training and costs there, but that doesn't mean there's not other training and costs with other employees. I mean, you go up like doctors, when they get hired on, sometimes they'll forgive certain debts from medical school if you work for the hospital a certain amount of time. State employees get their loans forgiven if they work for the state 10+ years. So those programs exist out there. If we want to explore a micro version of that, y'all tell me.
I think that's a no-brainer. I mean, yes.
Well, we haven't run into a problem yet, but like with CMFOs, we have sent one of our employees already. She's got her CMFO training. I mean, she's staying. That's not. But what I'm saying, you could run into the same kind of problems. We have several positions that have to be certified. So we have
at least that give you the confidence that if they jump ship,
well,
get your money back.
it's not for recurring things like you have to have training every year. That wouldn't be. It's the one-offs. It's the getting certified initially or whatever that I think would fall into a different category, and that can be explored.
At least that way, if you hire a brand new officer and train him, you're more than likely guaranteed to at least get your money back somewhere.
Well, yes and no. I mean, of course, the academy, to send them through the TLETA, which is the Tennessee Law Enforcement Academy, it's only $3,700. That's not where our biggest expense comes in. I mean, in fact, with Macy, I got it on a grant, so it didn't cost us anything to send her to the academy. Where we spent all of our money with her was her salary, her uniforms, her vest, those items getting her to that point.
And we had to pay her the 3 weeks you're saying that's not a big issue. in the budget.
But even still, $3,700 may not be the end of the world. But if an individual says, oh, I gotta work a year at this department, otherwise I gotta pay $3,700 back, that may be significant to them.
Well,
Or whatever.
I'm just saying, I mean, in the grand scheme, yes, I mean, I would hate to have to pay $3,700 back, but, you know, that's just a small fraction of our expense.
Where you said one of our biggest expenses with her was like her, uniforms. Could that, I mean, if we're gonna pay for their uniforms to start up, I'm not saying replacement uniforms as they say, but initial uniforms, would that not be considered a part of that?
Maybe, again, I kind of put that as a department head decision of how they want to deal with that, and I, you know, looking at the overall math, I'll defer, but that's probably such a small fraction that you wouldn't even notice it. But again, if there's big enough things, it probably needs to warrant some consideration, but
All I've ever seen other departments do in my past has just been the academy, the cost of the academy. Just, you know, like I said, I mean, $3,000, $4,000 that can be a lot of money to somebody who has, you know, $2 or $3 an hour, $1 an hour. You know, ultimately, that can be huge. I mean, it can, a lot of departments I've heard them say, you know, look, you gotta stay with us 12 months, you know, if you don't. I believe Dixon City, if they stay, I believe it's 12 months, but they'll take, you know, after 6 months, you know, then they'll split it up or whatever, you know, it goes down monthly, prorates it, so.
Because, I mean, really, in reality, the objective is not really to recoup your $3,700. The objective is to try to keep that employee enough time.
And we hope that we keep them because they want to stay.
Right.
Because if we, you know, we have an employee that doesn't want to be here, you know, at the end of the day, is it really worth
But
saving?
in my experience, whenever you have someone with the mindset coming into that they're committing, you're going to get a different caliber employee who's willing to commit. And someone, the caliber employee that you don't want, is not going to take that commitment. I mean, you know, you do that if you, a buddy of mine, whenever he runs credit checks on potential tenants, he makes the tenant pay for the credit check. It ain't that much money, but the point is immediately you're weeding out a lot of tenants you don't want, because the only people who's willing to pay for that credit check is the type of tenant you want. Same type of thing. It's really to weed out. I would imagine it would be a tool to help weed out the employees, the department that we don't want.
Okay, anyway, that we come up with this, and I would like the contract thing. I don't know if that is really gonna fix anything or not.
Yeah.
Anything that we come up with, there's going to be reasons that they quit. I mean, I don't know how we could ever rectify that. Even if you give them, I mean, it's not that I'm against it, but even if you gave them the money that y'all are wanting to pay them, that's not guaranteed they're gonna stay.
It's not.
It's still not. I don't
In the
know.
big picture, if they don't want to stay, I agree with Chris. I don't want them to stay. I want them gone.
Right.
I just want the ability to pull more candidates when I have to replace you. Or if we get one that needs to go, I don't want him to feel like, oh, I really can't let that one go, because if I do, it's going to take me 4 months to find one. I would like for it to be, if I let you go, I'll have somebody in here in 2 months. I know that's in a perfect world, but
I would like to keep my people happy.
well, and
They work hard.
I ask a lot of questions. You know this. Like, I'll ask people, what do you think about the cops that we got? What do you think about the officers? You got a problem with any of them? Any of them, you know, everybody that I've talked to loves all of you guys. That, I think, is something you want to try to hold on to, because you're now you're going to have, granted, the ones, oh, that, blah, blah, blah. But you're the one going to jail. You know, for the most part, people get pulled over, or they need to call the law because they have an issue and they need help. Overwhelmingly, it's been a positive return. I ask those kind of questions because I want to know too. You know, am I doing my job? You know, are you doing your job, and then trickle on down? And so, apparently, right now, you're doing pretty good. So that's good.
How many have we lost in the past year of their accord? Now, I know we've let one or two, we had to work through some things with them, but of their accord, how many have we lost in the past year?
Just one.
And why did we lose him?
He actually left, Matt Ray left to go
Oh, to be closer to, yeah, to where, yeah,
Bell buckle,
to Bell Buckle.
which I heard you already want to come back.
Okay.
I don't think being cheap a bell buckle was what it was up to me, so.
Melody had already hit him up for a free parking space to make sure she got a good parking space when she went to the moon high.
With the Arts and Crafts
Yeah.
Festival they have in here in October. I said, gave me a spot to park.
I appreciate their cafe, so.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, good call. We will have we met with the department heads, I think, the last time, and with Fred, and went over the new compensation. I mean, just his study, right?
No.
We didn't? I remember going to a big
You talking
extended
about
meeting
you talking about the first time?
Oh, the first time we did, yeah.
Yeah. No, literally, all that I just said happened.
Okay. We've heard the report tonight. Good. Okay, old business, new business, nothing else going, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Get home before the next wave of storms, if they're coming.
Red lightning to catch it with mine.
Oh, okay, second, second, everybody say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
That's a son of a-
This will get cold.
Yeah, yeah.
Fourth winter.
Always winter.
I don't know, that night I'm hearing this on my own hair. There's none that are almost on my phone, other than on my head. They just pay off the issue. You had to work for it. You had to say that.
Correct. So that's not uncommon, if you're gonna put that level to